I'm Sari Lopez, and I am chatting with Staxx.
Welcome to this episode of Chatting with Staxx. I'm your host, Bill Staxx, and today I got Sari. Hello.
Hey guys, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm amazing. Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, no doubt. I appreciate you taking the time. You have a really interesting story, and we're going to get into it. Before we get started, do you want to introduce yourself to the people and tell them where you were born and raised?
Yes, my name is Sari Lopez or Sari Lopez. I was born in Portland, Oregon. I was raised in Washington State. I now live in California, Southern California, in Orange County. I've been here about 16 years. I have been locked up in jail. Well, I'm now 48, so I've been locked up a lot of times. I can't really count from the time I was a juvenile. So, yeah, I guess I'm going to tell you my story, right?
Yeah, what was your early life like in Washington State?
Well, my early life, like adolescent life, that type of life, yes.
Yeah, like growing up, what was it like?
Well, I mean, it was good. I was adopted. So I was adopted when I was a baby. So I was raised by actually a Caucasian couple. And so it was always different because Washington, there's not a lot of Hispanic people, so it's a little bit different environment. I was raised, in a good home, but I never felt like I ever really fit in. So I always felt really different. I looked different. I was really different, obviously. And so when I turned, things were good until I turned, a teenager. About 13 years old, I started being, more rebellious, hanging out with people that, that I thought I liked more. They were more of my vibe. But that kind of life didn't go far for me, it's part of me. So I'm very proud of where I am today, but it also molded me into who I am as a person. So I don't take anything back that I went through, but I did get in a lot of trouble. So
what was the first time you got into some like major trouble when you were young that like you were like, damn, I'm in trouble?
Well, the first time was, well, I had by the time I was 18, I had like 9 juvenile felonies. So the first time was like on gun theft charges and possession of stolen property, just doing stupid shit,
Where'd you get the gun from?
They were stolen with some of my friends from, I don't know the person, but yes. So yes, just doing things that I should not be doing, So just basically being involved in the gun theft. That was actually my first charge. And that sent me to I don't really call it the Juvenile Institution, or it's not really called prison, right? It's called.
Yeah, it's like where I'm from is like a YO, youthful offender.
Yeah.
Still prison though. They got doors, bars, everything.
Yeah, it wasn't like juvenile where it's like the detention center. You went from the detention because it's like prison time. You go do prison time, but as a juvenile. So, and at that time they didn't really, they didn't charge you as an adult unless it was like murder, attempted murder, at that time. Because, I'm 48 years old. So we're talking back in early 90s, right? So, yeah. So I went to the Juvenile Institution, Juvenile Prison for the first time. I did a year the first time, got out worse. So I got out, literally stole a car with the girl that I was locked up with. You just learn to meet other people that are just worse than you. So you just want to be bad. And I was already bad anyway. I just like being bad, which I don't know why, but it was just, that was a life for me. I'm an extremist. I like to do things extreme, so most of my juvenile life, I was locked up. Most of the time it was after that was for car theft, eluding the police, things like that. So, and then I got locked up the second time. I think it was 16, and then I was released on my 18th birthday.
What was the second time for?
It was for the car theft, grand theft auto, and then I stole a car off a car lot. And I was with a bunch of guys, my homies. They didn't want to drive, so I'm the one who was driving. I always had the most, I was down to do whatever they didn't want to do, little bitches. Now, but and then we got into high speed chase. And then so those charges right there, eluding the police with the grand theft auto, put me in the second time, put me in juvenile prison or whatever until my 18th birthday.
And what was it like being in prison, and what was the environment in there like, and what's it like for you walking in there? Can you describe it for the people out there?
Well, I mean, as a juvenile, it's kind of like back then it wasn't as to me, it wasn't like prison. You know, it is prison. Yes, you're locked up. You can't go home. They have bars, like everything like that. But to me, it was more like, because it was the place I went to was like more co-ed. So it was, and I didn't have kids then. So I was chilling. Like,
Yeah.
it wasn't like, you know what I mean? You weren't like,
What were your parents saying at the time? What was their response to you getting in trouble?
Well, my parents were they were not like me at all. They're very average. I never get in trouble, hardworking, middle class people. So they were like, oh my gosh, they thought, people even told them, like, you should give her back, because I was adopted. Like, literally told them that shit. Like, you should give her back. Like, people that my coworkers and my dads, and that they were saying, oh, because like, I had made so much problems for my parents. But the one thing I give my parents is that they always had my back, but I just never really liked to follow rules or to do, I didn't want to be the average. I want to go to school. Like, what I want to go to school, So I just was like bad, rebellious. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I enjoy being rebellious. So, and that didn't get me too far, but it made me who I am today. So
when you get out of prison at 18, what's your goals back then? What were you gonna do, and where did you go?
My goals was to get in trouble again. I didn't really have. So like, I got out and started hanging out with the same people. I'm still, you meet more people when you're locked up. So you have those influences as well. So I'm still doing the same thing I'm doing before I got locked up. Haven't changed at all. And then I got pregnant with my first daughter, who's now 29 years old. So yes. So, and that didn't really change me either. Like, I calmed down just when I was pregnant. And then after I had her, like, was out doing the same thing again, just trying to do it with a child, Thank God I didn't have her out in the street with me. I just had her, like, my mom and dad would help me. They would keep, take care of her, but I wasn't really responsible either. So I really didn't have my shit together, And then shortly after that, when she was like 6 months, I went back to jail again for, well, that time I was in a stolen car, but I wasn't driving that day. So, and we got into a high-speed chase. So I got charged with that again. But, and then that was my first time being locked up as an adult. So I did like county jail time. I did like 6 months.
So what's it like going into adult prison? Are you like, oh,
a lot different? Yeah, a lot different. Yeah, because I felt like when you're in juvenile prison at that time, like your parents can bring you snacks and shit. That doesn't happen when you're in county jail or when you're in prison as an adult. So it's a real wake up call, but I don't think it really woke me up, So yeah, so I got out. So I didn't do any prison time for that because they didn't use my juvenile points against me. Thank God that time.
Yeah.
And so I did like 6 months in county jail, and yeah, that wasn't fun. County, yeah.
People going to court and different. It's always movement going on.
Well, and you're locked in a cell and it's dirty and you don't see sunlight and you don't have there's no sunlight. It's not, and just yeah. Then you see people coming in, they're like strung out. Like, yeah, it's not a good thing. It's not a good look. So, but obviously if you're not scared with, with that lifestyle, it's like whatever, and you just keep it pushing, until you get out and do the same shit again, right?
Did you have any fights or anything when you went into adult prison?
Well, not when I was in county that time, but like, yeah, in prison, yeah. So that's later. Yes. Not that time that I didn't really have any fights.
What about juvenile? Any fights in juvenile or anything?
Oh yeah, well, yes, because back then I loved to fight. Absolutely. So yes, I was very rough. Like I didn't give a fuck. Like I didn't care about what whoever said about me, what they, you know what I mean? I was very like, yes, I was always fighting.
What do they approach you? Like, how does the fight start? Is it like people just run in their mouth? Do they approach you and say, do they test you?
There's people just running their mouth, there's a lot of loudmouth people in jail and prison, right?
Yeah.
And they, they have no filter. They think they can say whatever, and you can't be a bitch. Like, you can't be a bitch. You gotta stand up for yourself. If you're a bitch, everybody's watching you. So, and that falls on your reputation. So absolutely. So yeah, so I was always fighting in juvenile, but like back then they'll just take you to Central. It's called Central. They put you in the fucking van because at the time when I went to the juvenile institution, there was like a lot of different housing units, and there was one main. It was called Central, and so they would take you like in a vehicle, a van, handcuff you, take you to fucking Central. You'd stay there 24, 48 hours after fighting. I'm pretty sure now they changed it. Like, you go to prison, you fight, you fucking lose good time, or you get charged new charges.
Yeah.
Then it was different. Like I said, things have changed a lot since the 1990s, right? I'm pretty sure.
When you get out when you're 18, are you on probation? Like what's...
Oh yeah, I'm on probation. Well, no, when I was 18, no, because I'd done all my time. So like I said back then, like they didn't actually they didn't...
No, after you get out of county.
Oh, out of county? Yes, I was on probation, but it wasn't like really serious probation. It wasn't like, I've never followed probation. Back then I wasn't like they didn't have me on really strict, supervision. So that wasn't until like I went to prison later that I actually had like parole and everything else.
So what's the next time you get in trouble after the county time? And can you walk me through that arrest?
Yes. So there was like several years. So I was like 19 until I was like 27 when I actually got arrested. I had like little charges in between. I had a son in between there that was born with like a heart defect. So that kind of like I got my shit together for a little bit, and was really taking care of him and really trying to do the most, like the best, I could, like being more, had my shit together. My mind was focused on him and whatnot, and that's when I was first married. I had a husband then, and then we ended up splitting up when he was like 2. And then I met my second husband, which is my 2 younger daughters' dad, and he was into selling drugs and things like that. And so I quickly got into that life and pretty quickly got like a lot of trafficking charges. So I was charged with trafficking heroin, possession of heroin, because when I went to jail, I had heroin on me when they busted me. So I had 2 trafficking charges, and then the possession, and then somebody left something in my car. So I had possession of stolen property, like I don't even know what the fuck it was. So yeah,
that's small stuff compared to what you're facing, right?
Yes, absolutely. So, the task force, they set me up. Obviously, somebody snitched on me. They told, they said whatever. So they set me up. And so all of a sudden I'm like surrounded, and thank God they didn't do it at my house. They didn't raid my house. They just raided me like with my car, take me down. They take you to the police station. They want to get you to snitch on somebody. And if you do what we say. And I'm like, fuck no, So then they end up taking you to jail. And then of course I have, I'm selling drugs. I have drugs on me. So that's where the possession comes in. So they find the drugs on me. I get thrown in the hole for like, I don't know, it was like 7 days. Horrible.
How much drugs did you have on you?
I don't know, like had like a 1/4 ounce on me. So of heroin. This is back when they had heroin. It wasn't. Now it
was real, right? Yeah, it wasn't fentanyl.
I don't know what is that like now, because when I got out of prison, I don't fuck with that anymore. And that was a big no. The amount of money that you make to the amount of money, the time you lose, is not really worth it. Look at El Chapo, right? Like he's sitting, his whole life is gone for what? For shit. Like I look at like now the common sense of like, hey, it doesn't really equal out, right?
Or you can sell it to someone and they can die, and you got to deal with that.
Exactly. Nowadays, and they're doing that. Like they're like, finding the person that's at fault for that. So that's scary. Like, and now that people like, they put that shit in cocaine, they put in whatever. Like now you're just kind of like, it's gamble. Like you're Russian roulette with these drugs out there on the street. So
I heard they put it in weed and everything.
Yes. I've known people that have passed away from that. Or I've known people who know other people that have passed away, so it's very sad. It's a scary drug game right now. It's not something that I want to be part of,
Every week I see someone passed away.
Yes. And who's doing shit about it? We're so worried about COVID, but yet they're not worried about fentanyl. Like the fuck, it's crazy. So, and the problem is it's so cheap for people to use. It's not like it's an expensive drug. you can get real fucked up real quick on like $20, $30. Like,
So
and then,
I was taking the bus and someone goes, "You want to buy some bags?" And I'm like,
yeah,
"Nah, I'm good." He's like, $2 a
yeah.
bag. I'm like, "What?" Like it was more expensive when I was doing
It's
drugs.
crazy. It's crazy that it's cheap. These pills, you can get them for less than $20, and that shit will fuck you up. But the problem is the addiction that comes with it. You know, like back in the day with heroin, and the people, like when I was selling heroin, people would steal their grandma's teeth for this, to get well because they're always sick. That shit is like whatever's on the streets now is like 100 times stronger than that back in the day. Like it's crazy. And I don't even know if heroin still exists. Like I have no idea.
I
Like,
don't think so. I
yeah,
don't think
everything
so.
is fentanyl and all this synthetic fentanyl has taken over, the whole drug street game, so which is
And they
scary.
look crazy. They got scabs and
Well,
they
I used
look
to see
crazy.
people on Instagram, like the people who record the streets of LA. Well, so my company now, I go to the fashion district in downtown a lot, all the time, the garment district, fashion district, whatever. And the people right there, like you see needles, they're just like fucked up, like really fucked up. Like people will be riding their bikes knotted off, like right straight into your car. Like it's crazy the things that people are doing, and it's sad. Like it's a problem, and I don't really feel like our government, no one's really doing anything to help them.
Yeah, it's insane.
So
So
yeah.
what happens with your charges? Where do they put you? And what was it like walking into that with these charges?
Well, the charges were because I was already a felon prior to that. They used all the points against me. So like the charge, like because my second husband, he got like I don't know 24 months, but because
Oh,
of all,
he got caught too.
yeah, everybody, we got caught. What they call or they were like, oh, it's a heroin drug ring and all this shit. I don't know. You know how the news puts it out. So, but so like it was a group of 5 of us that got busted. I was the only female, and then like so because of my previous charges, they gave me 72 months. So yes, so like
That's a long time.
I would have gotten way less if had I not they hadn't used my juvenile points against me. So it is what it is, right? So
And what is that? Like six
I think
years?
I think it's 6 years. But you know what the thing is back then because it was heroin. This is when like meth was first like out. Like when they first started doing meth, they weren't giving halftime on meth. So yeah, it's 6. So they were only giving halftime. So I got halftime because it was heroin.
Yeah.
So and by the time I did, and this is I don't know back there in Connecticut, do they have work release? Did you ever do work release? You
Nah,
remember
they
that?
never gave it to me.
No, do they have it
No,
though? Because out
they
here they don't have it.
no. I mean, they let people work outside the gate if you have a low charge. Like
Yeah.
they'll make you go mow lawns and things like that. But I don't know about work release. I never got any of that.
Because I try to contact people here, like to find people to work for you, because that's the most guaranteed that they're going to be there for 6 months or whatever when they're doing their time. Like it's a good way to hire people. I used to hire people like that when I was after I got out of prison, right? But like out here, they don't have those programs. I think probably people fucked it up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think they have like those group homes, but that's pretty much. Well, I guess you can. There's people who can be released from prison who can do like their time like on like the monitor, but you have to pay for
Halfway house and things like
it.
that, parole.
So
But
similar.
they're not supposed to be around felons either.
No. Oh no, you're not supposed to be around felons. Absolutely not. That's or co-offenders or whatnot, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, so I got the 72 months, got sent to prison. It was in Tacoma, Washington. It's called Purdy Women's Prison, the penitentiary. So that now it's like different. This isn't juvenile. This isn't, this is a woman's prison. There's a lot of women that look like men. I mean, women's prison is a lot different than a man's prison, from what I hear. My ex was locked up all the time. So like he used to tell me stories. He's in federal prison. So this is state prison. So yeah, so it's a lot of like people like looking at you when you arrive and you go to receiving, people like looking at you like these are potentially they're looking for you to be their bitch, right? So a lot of women who look like men, they look like men, they have
They're
face.
like
Yeah,
butch guys with
absolutely.
beards and shit, right?
Yeah, yes, and they're just trying to find who's going to be their next bitch when you come in, who's going to take care of them, right? So yeah, now it's a different story than juvenile. you know
Yeah. So what are you thinking when you walk in there?
Well, honestly, I was like, fuck, I don't want to be here. Like, what the fuck? Like, I was, because now I'm a mom, I'm a mom of two children. And my son had special needs, or he does have special needs. So it's like, it was a wake up call for me. Like, what the fuck am I doing? Like, what the fuck? Then you start really thinking, like, was what I did really worth all this? Like, what the fuck, reality check.
Yeah.
Hopefully reality. Some people probably don't like when they're used to doing that. I feel like when you keep going back, you're like, fuck, I know what's up. But I'm pretty sure that everybody has that same empty feeling when they walk into prison, right? Especially
Yeah.
receiving, because receiving is not fun. That's when you have
Well,
nothing, right?
so walk me through you going through receiving, so other people that are watching, they know what to expect when they get in trouble.
Well, I mean, when you get to receiving, I mean, they strip you down, they, make you, squat and cough, do all the things. I don't know whether for men, it's pretty similar, right? I mean,
Yeah,
they
they make you
shower
do
you
all
with
that.
fucking hose, they treat you for lice. They treat you like a dog, like it's like now you have no self-respect. Like you're nothing. You're a number. Like, and you're like, fuck, I'm coming out of county to go to this. Like what? It's a real reality check. So, and then, you get your number, you get to go to your cell, and you barely, when I was in receiving, you could come out like within 30 minutes a day. So no, and when you come out, you go straight over the phone. Hopefully, you talk to your family, and you couldn't have anything, just you're waiting for it to get transferred to your unit. Hopefully, you'll be transferred soon. And I think I did like 6 or 8 weeks in receiving. So yeah, so and hopefully, like I didn't have my roommate at the time, or my cellie. She wasn't butch. She was girly, so thank God. But yeah, there's a lot of scary females in there. Scary
Yeah.
females. And you know what? The females in women's prison, they come back, they'll reoffend just to go back to be, so they could be with their woman. So like they literally will reoffend and catch charges to go back to be with their female. It's crazy. So
So when you walk in when they finally assign you to a cell block, walk me through what it's like to walk in there, and how are people like yelling at you? Are people saying, "Oh, this is a fresh fish"?
absolutely. Yes, these women are, they look like men. Like you really think they're like, they're yelling, they're like talking shit, they're talking shit. They're scoping you out to make sure, because I had a lot of women who are like, okay, like they want to find who they're gonna fucking use, these butch dyke women in there want to find a cute girl who's got money, or that they think has money, so they can use you as their bitch. So yeah, it's like very intimidating, as a woman. I'm obviously not butch, nothing against anybody like that either. That's whatever they choose. But some of these men, I mean, these women, they're like full on men. They have like muscles, they're big, they have fades, like they look like men. You're like, okay, you think that they're an actual man. But yeah, so it could be very, very intimidating, especially I could imagine like if you were busted and never been locked up before. I mean, that was your first experience being locked up. Very fucking intimidating.
Yeah, like some 18-year-old young white girl
Yes,
walks
just
in
get the
there.
charges on some drug charges or some shit. I'm sure it happens all the time, right? Well,
Yeah.
there was girls like that there too, like very innocent, like crying, like you're like, girl, get it together. You have to, like, because you have to fucking woman up. You have to fucking play the part.